My Pillow presents Here's Your Masters of Love, Fred the Falcon and AJ with Beth Liebling. Brought to you by Darling Way and My Pillow.
And we're back on the Blitz, and if you have questions of any kind for our good friend Beth Liebling, the Darling Way, she can answer them.
Well, I could try.
Well,
I'll always answer. I can't promise that it's correct or that it's the best answer or anything like that.
I love that you've had to write down a list of all the things you can't say on the air and put it in front of you.
I think it's good that she did, though. I think it's a good idea.
It is. I felt so bad being, beeped on your show and everything, and apparently I have kind of a little bit of a sailor mouth, so I have to. I need to see it. And then I have to make sure that when I see it, I don't actually say it, that I just see it and say no.
Yeah, because I could see you rolling off about 5 of those in 10 seconds.
Wouldn't that be fun? Poor John would probably never talk to me again as he was, beeping away.
Well, Beth is a former Houston family law attorney, so if you got questions she can answer. If you just want questions about how to spice things up, it's the same thing she does at the shop when people go in and say hello. So you can always text them to us, too, if you're too embarrassed to call.
Yeah. So can I just start, though, because I have something I want to get off my my chest, if it's okay. I just feel bad that last week I called in here, and I feel like because it was call-in and stuff, and I didn't pay attention to details, I feel like it was I was on a cell phone, and it wasn't a good connection. I feel bad for all the listeners out there that it wasn't the greatest segment, and I felt bad for y'all. And I wanted to, just like I tell people, when it comes to romantically, if you kind of drop the ball on something, then kind of own it and take responsibility. So I want to own it and apologize to all of y'all, and thank you for not being too hard on me. But
listen, technological problems around here are nothing new. This is not our first problem. Let me tell you.
Oh, well, that's good, but I don't mean to make your life harder or anything like that. So then I was thinking, so what do guys do, right? Apologies and stuff. Women think men don't necessarily apologize sometimes.
My wife got mad at me the other day, and this has happened. It happened for like 3 or 4 days in a row. Like if something happened, just a slight mess up, I would apologize, and then she would keep harping on it.
Oh.
And then finally I was like, well, do you want me to apologize a 4th time? Because I will.
That was good of you, actually.
And she finally said, when you apologize, I feel like you're apologizing just to make me shut up. And you don't mean it as an apology.
Right. And
which I thought about it in my head, and of course my mouth said, that's not true. I'm apologizing because I have remorse.
But she was really right.
She might have been at least partially right. But I feel like even if I'm willing to suck up my pride and just say, you know what? All right, I'm sorry. Like that should be, because I get so tired. I don't want to argue. Like arguing to me is the most pointless thing.
Right.
I would rather just say, I'm sorry. You don't like the way I feel? Okay, I'm wrong. Let's move on. Then sit there and argue back and forth for 10 minutes about something. I have no time for that.
Yeah, but when you actually just said the words "you're sorry" and didn't actually mean you're sorry, in some ways you kept that going on.
I do mean I'm sorry that whatever happened to get us into this mess happened. I apologize.
Okay, well, so then you actually really did
mean it.
So she just wanted you to own that you shouldn't have done whatever it was,
right?
That you did.
But I feel like once a guy says I'm sorry, like for a woman to think that they're some sort of psychic and they know if it's a sincere apology or not is not fair to me.
I think maybe I think that's pretty typical and common, but I think maybe she's feeling like you're not valuing how she feels about a certain thing, right? So maybe it's I leave clothes all around or something, so I think often men are accused of that. But so if somebody's around and they just are complaining, and I just say, oh, sorry, and throw things in the hamper, but really I'm not really sorry that I left my clothes around.
Right.
And she wanted you to appreciate the fact that it's okay for her to want things picked up or something, or whatever it was.
Fair.
Is that reasonable? Yeah. So is there a way, could you recognize that she's got point too, even though you want to be lazy or whatever it was that you were doing?
I guess so. I mean, I still feel like once I apologize, that should be the end of it, right?
Well, so maybe don't apologize or explain what you're apologizing for, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, that seems like a lot of work.
It does seem like a lot of work, but that's fair.
But it happens all the time, right? Do you run into it? I mean, I just think apologies and stuff are different for men and women. We expect different things from them.
Not really anymore. We never fight about anything because she knows that I'm going to screw things up occasionally, and basically says, you screwed up. I said, you're right. And that's it. Same thing with her. We kind of know what we are now, so there's no point in fighting about it.
Well, that's a pretty good place to be, I guess.
Yeah, she knows me. She knows what I am, and occasionally if she's in a bad mood, I just leave her the hell alone, and vice versa. There's nothing really to. What do most couples fight over? Money
and sex.
And
I think that's most often. I think the other things are usually covers for those things.
Or kids. I think you might fight over like your kids, like I don't know
how you discipline them or something.
Well, that or they'll just. I feel like a lot of our fights come from our kids are making both of us crazy.
Yeah.
And it just makes us walk on eggshells or makes us more tense. And like when all that tension is built up, little stuff will piss you off.
Yeah, and isn't it funny how some people are so afraid they don't want to yell at their kids or anything because there's all this stuff about how you treat your kids and you're supposed to be a perfect parent. But then you take that aggravation from your kids and then you feel free to just completely lose it with your partner and yell and scream and be
they're
all
adults,
sorts
they're
of.
Used to it, so.
I don't know. I don't like when people yell at me. So.
A lot of questions for you.
Okay.
My wife is pregnant. What can I do to make her happy or surprise her with something?
You
we just found out.
She's pregnant. She's pissed off all the time.
Oh, congratulations, though. And you might be right.
Yeah, I'm right.
But you have to just keep trying. I would say that you keep trying and you constantly try and show support, even though you have no idea what it's like to actually be pregnant, and that's okay. And you constantly try and do nice things, and you just let her have this time in the spotlight. Because sometimes you'll win, but there's a lot of times. I was insane the first trimester I was pregnant. And I was pregnant 5 times. I was completely and utterly insane.
All women are.
Yeah. I didn't know it, so.
No, that's the other thing. They're completely oblivious to the fact that they're crazy. And then, after the baby comes and after, a few months later, she'll be like, God, I was so crazy back then. And it's like, yeah, I tried to tell you. You were crazy.
And that's the worst. So I didn't actually realize it until my 5th kid that I had been completely crazy the other 4 times. I just thought it was all my husband's fault. So my sympathies, but all you can do is just keep trying. That's it.
Why do I have to apologize for when I cheat on my wife in her dreams? I hate dream me.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have to apologize.
No, you shouldn't have to apologize for cheating on your wife in your dreams.
Yeah. I actually, Fred, I'm with you on that one. I think that's true. No, that's right. That's fantasies, and fantasies are different. So, no, I think you better figure out why she wants an apology for that, because that's interesting.
If I have to apologize for my dream stuff, Emma Stone's going to be really upset. Regardless.
Yeah. I'm thinking, by the way, Emma Stone, I really like her, but Zooey Deschanel has the most amazing eyes. I can't take my eyes off.
But is she hot?
Yeah, there's a difference. I'm not attracted to women.
Cute.
She is totally quirky cute.
But I don't feel like she's like traditional hot, like Kate Upton hot.
Yeah, maybe. As somebody who thinks of myself much more as the, quirky cute girl next door, I kind of vote for that over the super hot supermodels. But it's just a personal thing. Don't get me wrong.
The rule of thumb is could I ever masturbate to them? I think that's how you know if someone's hot or if they're just like quirky cute. Because I'm with you, like Amy Adams and
she's
like Emma Stone. These are chicks that are cute, but I think
so. You wouldn't masturbate?
I don't think I would masturbate to them.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
You would?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would think
especially Emma Stone more than Amy Adams.
Okay.
Because when you're doing that, are you thinking about what they're doing? Because I'm thinking they would be doing some really fun things to you versus somebody who's just used to taking a picture and standing flat there.
I'm like a caveman when I masturbate. I just need some I just need to see some boobs and
just need an idea. I have an imagination.
Yeah, imagination. That's all I need.
Here's a good one for you as somebody who's switched careers. I just took the bar to become a lawyer, but I'm submitting an application to become a police officer. Lifelong dream, but my wife will completely not support the decision. How can I get her on board?
Oh, well, that's a hard one. But congratulations on all of those things. And I definitely tell people, follow your passion. Whether you're 10 years old or 20 years old or 50 years old, always follow your passion because that's just the only way to go. How you get her on board, I guess maybe she needs to understand it. Maybe it's kind of like AJ's apology where he's saying one thing and the wife is hearing a different thing. And maybe you have to talk it through and make your wife understand this is not just a flight of fancy, but truly something that you are compelled or called or truly committed to doing. and still take the bar. Like, I still keep up my license. I would tell somebody, if you've already taken the bar and everything, keep that law license going, and then you can always come back to it if you need to. But
I'm a 24-year-old male who's been with my girlfriend for over a year. Sometimes I feel like a relationship is all about sex and not about substance. How can I fix that?
this is from a man?
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. That's awesome. How do you fix it? I'm so taken aback. I'm kind of like speechless.
I'd be like, don't fix it. Just keep having sex. You're fine.
Keep having sex, but then add more to it. Start also talking. Talk before, during, after, and go places where you're just building up and not quite having sex, and see if you still have things to talk about. If it really is just sex, just enjoy it for being that.
Well, I'm not saying this is the case here, but what if she's just not that interesting and you just want to bang her?
Well, then you just recognize that's the banging, right? We talked about fast food sex, whatever. Just recognize it for what it is. This is a physical relationship. That's it. Don't expect more, and don't get, basically protect. Don't get committed, and don't accidentally fall into some sort of long-term commitment.
Here's another one. I've been with my girlfriend for 7.5 years, and she still doesn't want to get married. Should I leave even though I'm in love with her? 7.5 years.
I gotta say, this seems like it's working out for you, bro. Because I would continue dating her with zero risk of her ever getting half your stuff. I mean, it seems like a win-win to me. This is
somebody who's been.
What if she has stuff? Why is it always? I just don't understand that idea that it's just the man. Sorry.
I mean, because we live in Texas. That's the reality of things.
The reality of things in Texas is it's the best state for men to get divorced in. Are you kidding? I used to tell my husband, if I moved to Massachusetts or California, you better watch out. Instead, I stayed here, and I knew going in. Texas does not do well by women and children for divorce. Period. The end.
I disagree.
No. Oh, no. I'll show you the stats. I promise you. No.
Only stats I care about are mine.
Great place to be.
Yeah, Fred, how much child support did your wife pay you?
Yeah.
Oh, child support here is lower than almost every other. I mean, it is ridiculous. So, no, absolutely, you want to stay here. Don't move. But, yeah, I just can't figure out why she doesn't want to get married. But I'd say that's a damn good question to ask, because there's clearly something missing, and I don't know what it is, but I'd love to know. I'd sit there and talk to her. Maybe she's afraid things will change.
Well,
and a lot of women think that once they get married, men think that women will stop having sex, and women think men will stop paying attention to them or being nice to them. And there's probably validity to both.
I think you got a pretty good deal there, man.
I'm with you.
It's marriage should only happen if you. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it. If you guys accidentally get pregnant, that's really the only reason to get married.
Yeah, here. I know about that.
There's no other reason.
But that was a bad reason, actually. I will tell you, that was a bad reason. We spent way too many years just saying we were just married because of that, and that's a terrible reason. So now I tell people, even if you get knocked up, don't get married. Don't make two mistakes instead of one. And
yeah, what's funny is that my female lawyer friends are all agreeing with you. Like Blair's on Twitter says she's right. You want to get divorced here.
Yeah.
My male lawyer friends who are texting me said women get treated great in Texas in divorce. So I think it depends on your perspective.
Well, everybody loses in divorce. That's what I hated about it. Even when divorce is the right thing, it just sucks for everybody involved. It's painful. It's awful. It sucks. But the numbers wise, and I mean, Texas didn't have alimony until very recently. And then they still have a very tight limit on the alimony payments and stuff. You don't get that in very many other states.
Same guy who asked earlier has been with his girlfriend and thinks the relationship's all about sex. If he visits your boutique to spice things up, would that hinder the talking process or make it better? He wants to do something nice for her, but doesn't want to turn into an all-sex relationship.
Oh, well, if he brings her with him? Oh, we'll talk. Believe me, we'll talk, and we'll get a lot out of her that he won't even know.
We got a lot of sensitive dudes texting the show today, by the way.
I love sensitive dudes. That's awesome. Everybody should be sensitive and have feelings.
I think maybe all you guys should break up with your girlfriends and get cats. Might be the best way.
No way. Then they
Just
wouldn't.
be single
I'm
cat
not a
guys.
pet store, so come on. Like
Wow.
no, we'll happen. But no, absolutely. I'd say let's talk to her and find out what's going on, and maybe she's just thinking that she has to have a lot of sex with him to keep him. But
A flogger would actually be a pretty good cat toy. They would jump up and try to not.
They do, yes. And sometimes if you're using a flogger, you have to lock the dogs outside the bedroom, or otherwise the dogs will be chasing those things too. So yeah.
I can't even guess what that name is up there.
I think it's Prim.
Prim? Well, you're on with Beth. What's up, friend?
Hi, friend.
Hey, hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Sports.
Oh, hey, I've been dating my girlfriend since high school. You know, we fell in love in high school, and we've been dating for over 10 years now.
Wow.
And, yeah, I mean, it seems like lately she's more into her job and career than, you know, kind of with the relationship. And, you know, we've grown to a stagnant point. And, you know, it's been over 10 years, and, you know, I don't feel the same way like I used to. So I just want to hear your take on that.
Well, you know, one of my friends told me, and it was the best thing, he said, sometimes people get married because they don't actually want to break up. Not because they're happy, but they don't want to break up. And I think that's ridiculous. So if you're already feeling that and you're not married, this might be the time to actually break up and move on. Because you either want to be with somebody and you want to be committed, or you want to get the hell out. Don't just, I'm not big into limbo.
But it does seem like she's a good earner.
Yeah, that's a plus. All right, look, if she's going to focus on her career, that's fine. But one thing you have to do is you both got to sit down and say, hey, man, we got to focus on us a little bit here. And that's my
heart is bursting with pride at these words from Fred right this moment.
Well, then you dump her. But but no, the reality is you do have to find a way to say and be supportive in her career. I do the same thing. My wife's doing a lot more now at her office than she ever was. We just said, hey, man, okay, we're going out tomorrow night, or we're doing this tomorrow night. And you got to remember that's why you're together in the first place, not so that you can make a whole bunch of money. If somebody asks, do you sell collars? If so, Cat Guy can still visit.
Oh, I definitely have some beautiful collars. And a lot of things people think of as catnip, too. So, yes.
Well.
Yeah. But I think maybe the business stuff, though, by the way, maybe it's kind of like when you're on the same team, right? If you're on a baseball team and one player is stepping out because they're going to go get special coaching and they're going to come back to the team and add more value, that's one thing. If somebody's leaving and just abandoning the team just to go do their own thing for no value added to the team, then you kind of say, wait, this isn't working for me.
I've been with my girlfriend for 6.5 years. Sex is okay, but I love her. I'm pretty good looking and pull women when I go out and am getting tempted. What do I do? That's a very good question. Guys get that a lot.
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't really believe in cheating. I don't think that's the way to do it. It's not what I'm comfortable with. I'll tell you, if I'm dating somebody and I'm starting to look at other men and I'm getting attracted, that's my sign to get out of the relationship. That's how I know that my heart's just not in it, because I'm finding somebody else hot. So I don't know. I gather men have different sort of feelings about that. But if you can't spice it up with her so that that's really your focus, then it's actually time to get out. But
if you find somebody else hot, just go home and close your eyes and pretend it's her while you're doing your girlfriend. That's the easiest way to do it. I do that all the time.
There's sometimes when I think that's kind of okay. I guess if it's every time, though, maybe that's the thing, right? There's a percentage where you're just really glad to be with the person you're with. Well, and if you're not feeling that on, half the time?
Well, no, 10% of the time. It's fine.
10% of the time you're glad you're with the woman?
1 out of 10. That's fine.
Oh, my goodness. I would hate to be the woman on the end of that. I've just got to say.
Well, you wouldn't know.
You don't think I would know?
I'm not going to tell you.
No, but don't you think you can tell?
No, I'm not going to tell you I'm thinking about Emma Stone while it's you.
No. Well, you should. If we had a good relationship, you should. Why? Hell, I'd try and be Emma Stone.
No one has a good relationship.
No.
Let's stop.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
This is why we have Darling Way. Thank God. I'll give you some costumes and some wigs, and yeah, you can be anybody you want to. Cute little redhead. That sounds really good.
Tell them a little bit about the shop. You're open Sundays now. Make sure that's clearly known.
Thank you. We are open Sundays. So, Darling Way in the Heights at 3423 White Oak Drive. We are all about romance. We are so ready and excited for rodeo. We've got everything for men and women, and some garters, little garters that you can put a small flask in. Underwear that men can walk around with through the rodeo, strut their stuff, and then, boy, when they get home and take their Wranglers off, they'll look even better. So come visit us, help get some rodeo romance going in your life, and we'll talk to you about anything, anytime.
This is actually kind of a serious question.
Yeah.
And it's one that I hear a lot of people ask. What do you do when your wife just isn't into sex at all, and you are? It makes me feel like I'm not wanted or appreciated.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the most common thing. So what I think is he's got to figure out why she's not into sex. But a lot of women, we put sex on the to-do list. Well, she might be. That is a concern. But sometimes it just becomes like there's not intimacy. Most of us actually want intimacy and we want romance. So I would say before you just give up and stuff, you start trying to figure out what her version of romance is and trying to create that without the obligation of, quote, sex and that final moment and stuff. And then you see. But start with massage, start with touch, start with maybe she just wants some more frisky play in her life. And in which case, embrace it and do. But start figuring it out and make it about her. And then see if it's really that she's just out of it already.
Yeah, maybe she just says, look, I'm banging the neighbor. I'm not that interested. We need to move on.
Yeah, and what's funny is that if he starts trying to spice things up the way that she wants it spiced up, she's more likely to actually come forward with that truth. If he just lets things just lay low, things continue longer. So bring it, heat it up.
We're actually getting some kind of serious questions today.
Oh,
married for 5 years, love my wife and want a family, thought she did too. Found out last year she's changed her mind and doesn't want kids. I love her so much but want to be a dad.
Oh, that's a really hard one. And that one, I would tell you, that one needs counseling, right? Those are big, big issues. And if somebody, that's not just somebody doesn't know when they need to talk. If they really both feel strongly about that, they need to go see a counselor and figure out. Because I would never have given up the ability to have kids, but nor would I ever want someone just to have kids just because I wanted to if they weren't excited about being a dad. So that one's tough.
Yeah, it's a hard one, man.
Yeah, I feel you. So, but definitely, I'm happy to help with some good counselor referrals and stuff. And there are a lot of great counselors around town that'll talk to you about these things. And they don't just pat your hand. They'll actually help get to the meat of things and help you figure out what you want to do and find happy for both of you.
Why does everything you say sound dirty, getting to the meat of things? Yeah, this one's kind of similar to the one two back. My wife would rather go out and have fun with her sister than do anything with me. I've said something about it to her, but she just laughs it off. What do I do?
So again, he's got to figure out and start doing some things that make his wife want to be with him, because that is not a good long-term solution. So,
but on the flip side, don't you guys have to do something occasionally to make the guys want to be with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think it goes both ways. So I believe in gifts, and I tell people that if whatever your partner's version of, romance and gifts, if you want to put your mouth to work one way or the other in something, I'm all in favor of that sometimes, even if you're not in the mood. But it definitely needs to be a two-way street. But it's just that I think what happens is too many people start drifting down this path. Suddenly she doesn't want to be with him. And how long do you let that go? And I'm just to the point, I just try and help people call it early so that they figure out what and either make a change, join each other on the same path, or get the heck out.
Well, and yeah, you can drift apart, but you can drift back together too.
You absolutely can, but it generally takes some work, right?
There's a reason you like the person in the first place.
Yes.
Theoretically.
Exactly. And that's the part that you want to hold on to, and that's why you don't want to let it go too long. You don't want to be 5 years down the road and suddenly realize you haven't spent a weekend together. That's just not right. And you're way too far apart, and it takes too long to get back together. So
a couple people said that they stopped by your place and you were awesome and helped them out. So,
aw, thank you. I'm so glad. We really have met some awesome people from the Blitz, and I just love it. So thank you guys. I love being here. I'm telling you, Wednesdays are my favorite day of the week. It's hump day in all sorts of ways.
She goes again, Fred.
Yeah, I know. That's everything she says now. It just comes out the wrong way.
I think it's the right way. I think we should have way more fun with our language, with our love, with our romance. I think everybody should be laughing and thinking dirty thoughts most of the day. The world would be a much better place, right?
Probably.